Have you ever faced a frustrating issue while coding, like trying to disable an option in a dropdown? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're going to tackle how to assign the disabled HTML attribute to an option in WTForms SelectField. I know how annoying it can be when your code doesn't behave as expected. You write everything perfectly, but somehow it just doesn't work. You're definitely not alone in this struggle. Many developers face similar challenges. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, what is the simplest way to assign the disabled HTML attribute to one of the options in SelectField in WTForms? They provided their code but noticed that the disabled attribute wasn't being passed to the template. Sound familiar? Let's dig into this together. So, what could be causing this issue? It often comes down to how WTForms handles rendering options. We'll break it down step by step so you can understand what's going wrong and how to fix it. And don't go anywhere. I've got a simple solution at the end that will make your coding life a lot easier. To disable an option in a WTForms SelectField, the user should first understand how to modify the options in the form. The key is to access the options and set the disabled attribute correctly. Next, the user can modify the first option directly in the form's definition. This can be done by using the next function to get the first option and then applying the disabled attribute. After setting the disabled attribute, the user should ensure that the form is rendered correctly in the template. This means checking that the output includes the disabled attribute as expected. If the output does not show the disabled attribute in the template, the user may need to check how the form is being rendered. They should ensure that the form's data is being passed correctly to the template. Finally, the user can test the form in a web browser to confirm that the first option is indeed disabled. This will help verify that the changes have taken effect. Did you know? The first web forms were created in the early 1990s, and they were much simpler than what we have today. We've come a long way in web development. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution involves creating a custom widget for WTForms. This widget allows you to specify custom attributes for each option in the select field. You can define a class called Custom Select that renders the select field and accepts a dictionary of attributes for each option. When declaring the select field, you pass an instance of Custom Select as the widget parameter. To disable an option, you can specify the option attributes when rendering the field. That's the end of that answer. Let's see another perspective. An alternative approach suggests a simpler method for adding a disabled option in WTForms SelectField. Instead of extending the SelectField class, you can loop through the options in your template. During the first iteration, you can add a disabled and selected option directly. Let's check out another perspective from a different user. An alternative approach suggests using the read-only property instead of disabling the option. This way, the value can still be passed. You can achieve this with jQuery by using the command to set the property to read-only. Now let's dive into a different answer from another user. An alternative solution provided by another user involves using a for loop in your template to disable the first option in a WTForms select field. They suggest checking if the current loop iteration is the first one and applying the disabled attribute accordingly. If you want to disable additional options, like the fourth and fifth, you can extend the logic by checking the loop index. This way, you can easily manage which options are disabled. Here's the pro tip I promised. Always double-check how your frameworks handle rendering attributes. This can save you a lot of time and headaches in the long run. And there you have it. You should now be able to disable options in your WTForms select field with ease. Remember, coding is all about problem solving. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button for more tips, and don't miss our next video on advanced form handling.